Joining us now, Democratic Senator Peter Welch of Vermont. Senator, it's great seeing you. Thank you so much for your time. You know, when you look at the line of speakers this week at the DNC, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Speaker Emerita Pelosi, senators from the South, Northeast, Midwest, former presidents, former first ladies, even a former Trump administration official. What do you see as the overarching message Democrats have been sending so far?
It's unity. Unity and energy. I mean, one of the things that we owe President Biden is that he has a unified Democratic Party. I mean, he made a courageous decision to step aside. Even though he had the nomination, it was based on his commitment to doing the right thing for the country. But it's been surprising how seamless the transition has been to Vice President Harris. But the basic reason that happened is because he, the president, has unified the party from Joe Manchin to Bernie Sanders. And we're building on that.
Speaker Emerita Pelosi was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert actually early this morning and discussed the change in the Democratic ticket. Here's part of that conversation.
Many people think that you were one of the architects of that change. Does that bother you? Does that idea bother you that people think that about you?
Well, I think the president made his own decision, and they should respect him for that. Let's just say this. What's really important about what happened is what comes next, And what comes next is we're going to elect Kamala Harris, President of the United States.
Senator, you were the first member of the Senate to call for President Biden to end his campaign and, quote, put us first. Is this what you envisioned? And what do you think needs to come next?
Well, it is what I envisioned. I mean, we all saw the debate. It was clear that there was a serious situation. And we went from a campaign that was really going to be focused on Trump to one that was going to be focused on Biden. With President Biden's decision, the campaign is now about the future. And she, Vice President Harris, is doing an extraordinary job on that. So now we have an immense amount of energy. And our challenge is to harness that energy because we have a very, very challenging race ahead. But I think there's a real sense that with discipline, with harnessed energy, we can win.
And Senator, I very much appreciate you continuing our conversation as we listen to someone practicing for the, national anthem, which we respect and revere. But I want to, and I know you're kind of separate, so I appreciate being able to talk through it. But tides seem to be shifting, according to Larry Sabato's crystal ball at the University of Virginia Center for Politics. North Carolina, the last Republican-leaning swing state, just moved to a toss-up. How bullish are you that this momentum in these states could continue?
Hey, it's a jump ball. There's no hiding the fact or denying the fact that this is going to be a very, very close race. But what you see is that with our new candidate and with Vice President candidate Walz, there's an immense amount of energy and momentum. And the race is about the future. And the future is what most voters are really focused on. So, yes, we have a hard race. We're excited about Vice President Harris and Tim Walz. But I'll tell you, we are prepared to do the work. And we have a map that is starting to favor us. So states that were in the safe Republican category, like North Carolina, they're now jump balls. So we've got work to do, but we're ready to do it and excited. We're excited about doing it.
When you talk about unity and that being the message of this convention, it's not lost on me that some of the most vulnerable Democrats down ballot this year are not in Chicago this week. Senators Jon Tester of Montana, Sherrod Brown of Ohio, Jackie Rosen of Nevada, just to name a few. Is it the right move for them to distance themselves from what's happening there and from the top of the ticket?
Well, I think the right move for them is to do whatever is required for them to win that race. And each of us represents a state. So you mentioned Brown and Tester. They come from two tough states. They're very popular senators. But they are doing everything that they can, as they do throughout their entire 6-year term, to make it clear they put Montana first, they put Ohio first. So any of us who are in a contested race have to make decisions on the basis of how are we going to win. And Tester and Sherrod Brown are doing that, Jackie Rosen. So, yes, I think they're doing the right thing.
Senator Peter Welch, I thank you so much. We thank you so much for being with us this morning. Really appreciate your time and to kind of go through this conversation. I really appreciate it.